Sziasztok! A mai videómnak az apropója, amint a képernyőn is láthatjátok, a Special Report, ami mai napon, tehát február 5-én volt élő adásban a Twitchen, és ez a Special Report az 5. évad 3. szezonjáról, a Vanguardról szól, és annak az újdonságairól, ami azért is különleges egy picit az összes többi szezon között, mert hogy visszamegyünk New Yorkba, és ennek meg is van az apropója, de hogy mi az apropó, az ki fog derülni most ebből az élő special reportból, amit most megpróbálok nektek magyarosítani, amennyire tudok, úgyhogy tartsatok velem. Egyébként én sem láttam még, tehát nekem is ez az első alkalom, hogy ezt most megnézem veletek, úgyhogy kezdjük is akkor.
Hello everyone. I guess we're live unexpectedly. We're just talking about the cards of the
Ugye ők ismerős arcok, Janika kreatív igazgatója a Divisionnek, ő már nagyon régóta velünk van, a Division 1 óta, úgyhogy teljesen abszolút tőzsgyökeres Divisionosnek számít a fejlesztői csapatban, és Daria egyébként, ő is már évek óta a Division csapat tagja, ő a franchise második részénél csatlakozott a csapathoz, és ő a közösségért felelős fejlesztő a Division csapatban.
To remind you of the events of the previous season and transition to Season 3, let's watch.
Most kapunk egy kis összefoglalót az elmúlt szezonnak a történéseiről.
Agents, we've recovered 5 more hostages that were taken during the attack on the White House, including Vic's sister, Birdie, who has vital intel on the Black Tusk's infrastructure and systems, and Nat's plans for the mobile SHD servers, as it was Birdie who was tasked with building and maintaining their power supply. However, it was through this rescue that another layer of deceit was uncovered. Agent Brian Johnson was unmasked as the recruiter. Johnson used his position as your handler to hide intel that was uncovered and was almost successful in stealing the mobile SHD server. The revelation that hunters walk among the agents further divides the already fragmented division ranks, and Vic questions who else could be a hunter and points the finger at Kelso. Manny refuses to believe that Kelso is a hunter. However, we are unable to clear her name at this stage because she has gone missing. Agents, we need to find Kelso and uncover what she has been doing in New York.
Thank you so much, NGN, for another amazing recap.
Tehát akkor most kiderült számunkra, hogy a harmadik szezonnak az apropója, miért visszamegyünk New Yorkba, az igazából Kelso. Ugyanis ugye nem tudjuk, hogy nagyon régóta nem tudjuk, hogy mi van vele.
What is going on with Kelso? That's the question, right? You may remember from Season 11, we had the conclusion of Season 11 with the attack on the White House, and then at the end of that, Kelso said she was going to go to New York to check on Heaven.
Ugye, ha emlékeztek rá, akkor a 11-es szezon azzal zárult, hogy lerohanták a Fehérházat, és hogy akkor Kelso közölte, hogy visszamegy New Yorkba, megnézi, hogy mi ott a helyzet, és azóta sem jött vissza. Tehát nagyon régóta már ott van, és nem tudjuk, hogy mi van vele.
As we were rescuing civilians, she was all the time in New York. Manny mentioned that a couple of times. So now it's time to actually go and see what has she been up to, and now she's gone missing. So what's going on there?
And this time around, what is especially interesting about the season is that we are not going to be going after specific people.
A felirat az igazából ugye manhunt akar lenni.
Those are going to be the locations. So basically, agents are tasked with retracking Kelso's steps and following her and looking at the clues that might be at those locations.
Yeah, it's just another twist on the manhunt formula. So, you know, we used to have enemy targets, then in the past couple of seasons we had civilians to rescue, and this time it's going to be not direct targets, but it's going to be about investigation and retracing the steps of Kelso and finding out and catching up to her and understand what's happening here.
Yep. And for the manhunt, we can also reveal the calendar. That is going to be, I would say, surprising, considering that some of the details we just gave out about the specific locations, but also about the apparel events this season.
Na, elvileg látnunk
the
kéne
calendar?
valami naptárt.
We
Aha.
do.
Ó, itt van. Tehát akkor ez az
Yeah, less
5-ös
faces, more
évad.
places. So as we said, every
felújított
target
naptárja.
now is actually a location. And yes, you can see at the bottom of that 2 apparel events this season. Again, a brand new one, Veil Tactics.
Tehát február
and then,
6-án kezdünk, ugye
return
holnapi napon
as a second
február
apparel event
6-án
in the
kezdünk a
season,
Civic
a return
Centerben.
of Last Resort, which was
Tehát
apparel
egy
event
kicsit
we did,
megcsavarják megint a Manhuntot, mert ez szerint a Manhunt az most nem személyek, hanem tehát helyek lesznek, helyszínek.
Inspired from the New York faction, so the Cleaners and the Rikers. So pretty cool apparel event.
And we're gonna talk about it in more
Lesz
detail
2 Apparel
later,
eventünk is.
but let's also watch
Mindegyik
the,
új.
New trailer for the season 3 Vanguard.
És akkor kapunk egy új trailer természetesen a harmadik szezonhoz, ahogy ugye eddig minden egyes szezonhoz kaptunk mindig új trailert. Lássuk.
I trust Kelso. I don't believe she could be a hunter. But trust has to be earned. When we put it in the wrong people. Just look at what's happened to this country. Agents were trained to blend in, to hide in plain sight. How can we know their true mission? We can't survive without trust. I trust Kelso. But I've been wrong before.
Próbáltam ezt a fegyvert, ez nagyon jó. PTS-ben ki lehetett próbálni.
What a nice trailer. It reminds me
Jó, én csak egy dolgot szeretnék nagyon gyorsan itt elmondani. Amellett, hogy ugye kicsit újítottak a traileren is, mert egész ilyen animált, eddig nem volt ilyen animált trailerünk. De nagyon-nagyon nem szeretném, hogyha Kelso-t Feylaúnak a sorsára juttatnák, és ő is rógügynök lenne. Ugye ez már az előző összefoglalóban is, amit NGN csinált, felmerült, hogy esetleg Kelso is egy ilyen beépített vadász lehet. Nagyon-nagyon nem szeretném, én nagyon-nagyon kedvelem az ő karakterét.
The good guys, Manny and the Division and everybody else. I'm like, who else could actually be a hunter, or if not even a hunter, like embedded agents working for the enemy. And with Kelso going missing and Kelso having been gone for so long, some people are starting to ask questions. And that's what we're going to.
Ugye ezt a kérdést feszegetik most, ugye, hogy mivel Kelso annyira régóta távol van, és nem tudjuk, hogy mi van vele, hogy felmerült a kérdés, hogy nem esetleg ő is egy beépített embere az ellenségnek.
I don't know if it means anything, to be honest. Probably just an artistic point of view. But,
so yeah. So here you have it. The new visual for this season, and once again, this is about Kelso, and this is about going to find her in the process.
Igen, tehát ez a szezon egy az egybe Kelso-ról fog szólni.
Yeah. Let's go and hunt her down.
Én ennek örülök, mert abszolút megérdemel egy külön szezont az ő karaktere is.
And of course, story is not the only
ez jó, hogy ő ráépítenek.
that is going to be shown in the new season. As usual, it comes with a bunch of new gear, new weapons. And,
új fegyverek, új gírek, gírszet.
New gear as well. Some of you may have had a chance to test it on the PTS.
Igen, tehát a PTS-ben nagyon sok mindent ki lehetett próbálni. Én is kipróbáltam egyébként fegyvereket is.
We're going to talk about it separately to highlight whatever was done to few gear pieces and talents following the PTS. But for now, I just would love to show some of them in
Ugye
full
2
glory.
fázisos volt a PTS,
So this
és
is the
ennek az eredményét
Aegis.
láthatjuk most.
That's a new gear set.
Ez az Aegis, ez egy új gearset, tehát egy zöld gearset, ez egyébként egy tankos gearset lesz.
Well, it's also a bit of a throwback of.
Ha most itt
Yeah.
nem mutatják a
LMB
részleteket,
looking
akkor én
stuff
mindenféleképpen
also.
meg fogom
So for
mutatni, hogy
people who
mit
play Division 1, this is going to be a
tartalmaz
nice,
ez a gearset, de egy
a
tankos
nice thing to be
build.
looking for. It has some pretty
készüljetek.
nice, dark and red tones, which
Egyébként
were
nagyon jól
the
néz ki
colors
ez a
of the,
piros-fekete kombináció.
of the LMB. I know they used white a lot as well, but their logo was actually a lot of black and red. So that was the inspiration here. And yeah, I think we have something that looks pretty cool.
Yeah, and the logo is very easy to recognize.
And of course, this
Nagyon jól
season is
néz
a
ki.
lot about enemy and aggro management and being targeted or not being targeted.
Ez egy
So a bunch of
exokesztyű
the,
lesz.
gear that
amit
we
itt
see in
láttok.
here, or that we will see in this season, is about that. That was the case for the gear set, not the gloves, but other pieces.
Nagyon,
as
ez is
well.
nagyon
Yeah,
jó
those
a
are the new
design.
exotic gloves, by the way.
Jó a design csapat.
Wrecked gauntlets, they're called.
Yeah, and these are about stability and weapon handling and all that. So it's a different idea, but it's trying to find some gloves that could be useful for people who want weapons to be easier to handle. I know it's quite niche, and we've heard a lot of feedback on the PTS. We fixed some issues with them. I'm jumping ahead because this is in the PTS part, but yes, it's a different thematic.
Yeah, but also this time around we'll have a new exotic pistol called Mosquito.
Lesz egy új egzotikus
You
kis
can,
pisztoly is, a
see it
Mosquito.
right now. Very, very beautiful short. Thank
Hogyha
you,
szeretitek a
George.
kis pisztolyokat.
And also there is another exotic rifle,
Mosquito.
Vindicator, that is exclusive
Ez egy nagyon jó
to
fegyó.
Descent.
Yes.
And we're gonna talk about it in more detail separately because we have a specific Descent part of the live stream. But yeah, to address the questions that we saw in the community, there was some confusion regarding this specific exotic weapon. Yes, it's exclusive to Descent. It's only available through the shop, but it can be used anywhere else. As soon as you acquire it in Descent, you are free to take it with you to the.
Ha jól értettem, akkor ezt a fegyvert viszont csak a Descentben lehet
It can
megszerezni.
only be obtained through Descent, but then once you have it, you use it normally on your character, and you can play
Tehát
it,
csak a Descentből
wherever you want.
tudjátok
It is,
kiszedni
it is
majd
an
ezt a
exotic piece
fegyvert,
of
de
technology.
amint meg lesz, bárhol máshol fogjátok tudni használni. Hát
And for
gondolom
now,
hasonló, amit az
it's not
Uroboros.
that, there are any plans
Ugyanez, csak
to,
ugye az a
make it
Paradise
available
Lost
through
mögött
other,
volt.
modes.
Not yet. I mean, it's we've seen some of the exclusives being added to the Dark Zone after a while. We may want to do that. We will see, but we're going to give it some time, and it's going to be for Descent for a while, and
Ugye a jövő
later
kérdés, hogy
along the road,
esetleg
maybe we'll make it more available
majd kikerül a
to,
Descentből, ugye
to
hasonlóan
other
egy-két
places
rédes
as well, but
fegyver
we
is
really
átkerült
like the
például a
idea of
Dark
having
Zónába,
a
de
piece
egyelőre
of,
ezt majd csak
gear
a
that you can only
Descentből
get
tudjátok
through
beszerezni,
that game mode.
és
Yeah, and it also
hát
has
majd lehet,
this,
hogy a
very
jövőben
distinct
máshonnan is
appearance.
elérhető
It's
lesz ez
kind
a
of
fegyver.
Screams Descent.
Úgyhogy kénytelenek
But
leszünk
talking
Descentbe
about,
menni, ami még mindig nagyon
other,
hosszú.
Seasonal gear pieces, and I mentioned that we want to come back to the PTS feedback and some changes that were made following the commentary that we saw online. It actually concerns some of the gear pieces. So let's talk about the PTS results.
A
And
PTS eredmények.
first of all,
Ugye ez a
I
public
think
test szerver, ami
let's
csak a
address
PC-sek
the,
számára
the
elérhető,
newest
és
talent,
itt korlátozott
the
ideig,
talent.
mindösszesen néhány
There
napig
were a few changes
lehet
made to it.
tesztelni az új
And
dolgokat,
first of
gíreket,
all, starting
fegyvereket,
with the,
majdnem
320,
mindent.
That is going to be released tomorrow. It only will be available and exclusive to rifles and MMRs. And this change in particular was made in alignment with the intended design. So availability on other weapons was not intentional, and we decided basically to limit it to MMRs and rifles because the talent was too powerful combined with some other weapons.
Yeah, I mean, clearly the moment we announced it and it did not come with a limitation to specific weapon types, I mean, a lot of people just immediately identified that this could be a problem with paired with some weapon types. So it makes sense, and yes, that was kind of the intention to begin with. So yeah, feedback just confirmed our assumptions, and it was an easy change to make.
Yeah, and also there is going to be the decrease in amplified damage, and you're probably better equipped to comment on that than I am.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna do the math, but basically, you know, there is a difference between damage increase and damage amplify in the game, and if you're not aware of that, well, this is you learning about it, and that's why we use those two different terms.
Ugye, amiről most
It has to
beszélnek,
do with the way the damage bonus is calculated, and basically, the gist of it is amplifies are much stronger bonuses than increase. So for some of
ugye
those
két
items,
fogalmat használnak a talentekben, van ugye az increase, ami a növelést jelent, meg van az amplify, ami ugye a sokszorozást jelent, és ugye, hogy nem mindegy, hogy
damages, which means they were ridiculously powerful.
nem
So
mindegy,
what
hogy
we've done
melyiket,
is we've kept them as amplified because that's more interesting for the
melyiket
mechanics
használják,
of,
ugye.
of that item. But therefore we've decreased the damage bonus to something that is more in line with what an amplify would normally do. So ultimately it's not a nerf. I know that compared to PTS values it might look like a nerf, but this is an alignment to therefore reflect the fact that these are intended as amplify bonuses and not increase bonuses.
Yeah, and I'm just going to mention it quickly that this change in particular would be available right upon the release, but the localization change that's going to highlight the move to amplify damage from the weapon damage, that is something that's going to come with 20.1. So the next smaller title update. But honestly, apart from that, this information was released as a part of the dev commentary following the phase 2. So if you want to read in detail and see the values and how and why the changes were made, you're welcome to visit our Trello board and find this information in the dev commentary.
Szóval szeretnétek minden részletet tudni arról, hogy mi az, amiről itt beszéltek, ami egyébként nagyon technikás, és nem is nagyon merek bele bonyolódni, még a fordításában sem. A Trello boardon, ahol van ez a known issues, ott meg tudjátok nézni a részletekben, hogy értékekkel, hogy mit hogyan változtattak ebben, amiről most itt beszéltek.
The new exotic weapon available through Descent, the one that we showed right now. Also starting with the TU20 release, amplified damage going to decrease from 75 to 40%. Basically the same reason, and also localization is going to be updated a bit later. To explain why the values can be updated and localization needs to wait a little bit, basically this has to do with the builds and submission time, and sometimes the changes in the values, it's easier, they can be made faster than the localization because there are a lot of languages, they need to be updated. So, you know, I don't know why I'm explaining this.
The value is on the server, the text is on your client. And if we if we want to patch your client, we need to make a patch you're going to download, and that takes time because it has to go through certification and all that. Localization takes extra time. Changing a value is just a number we can change on the server. I'm oversimplifying it, and some devs might be having a heart attack here, but that's the general gist of it. So it's much easier. Or even if we change it in a game on the client, still we don't necessarily need to make to go through all the hoops of actually localizing and all of that. So yes, changing the value is much faster than actually adapting the text that has to go.
Nagyon technikás dolgokról beszélnek most egyébként.
Yeah, but still important to highlight so the
a szerver és a kliensek hogyan működnek, mi az, amit egyszerűbb nekik változtatni a játékban, hogyha valami módosítani
seeing
akarnak.
The difference between how the talent or the gun behaves compared to what it says about its supposed behavior. At least now you know. And the last thing that I think it's important to highlight, rugged gauntlets, the new exotic gloves. We also received some feedback about them.
Az egzotikus kesztyűvel kapcsolatosan kaptak visszajelzéseket.
They're a little bit underwhelming, and the original intention was to give the talent stability and accuracy bonus, but since it's a PTS and bugs occur, and sometimes some features or some weapons, they end up on the PTS in
Eredetileg több
their
stabilitást
infinite
és
state, so it's not
pontosságot
final, but that is what
akartak
PTS is
adni a,
about. It's
a
about
kesztyűnek a
testing.
talentjével.
It's about understanding how well balanced different features and weapons are. So basically, due to this malfunction, we understand why it may felt that way, why it may felt underwhelming.
Yeah, and I think we have, both feedback also. We have the people that tried it and thought it was underwhelming, and we have people who just, on principle are not interested in this kind of item. And of course, you are only allowed to have one exotic equipped, so why would you sacrifice a much more powerful exotic for something like that is a bit more niche?
Ez egy jogos észrevétel, mondjuk, amiről beszélnek, tehát ugye mivel csak pontosságot meg
but that's
stabilitásra
just,
kezdjük,
there's a lot
és
of
ugye mivel
exotics
csak
in the
egy
game,
exotikus
so I
lehet
think it's
nálad,
good
most
for us
miért
to try
áldoznád
things,
fel a
and see if there's
sebzés
actually a crowd for that, or
árán?
if there's we know that a lot of players can be very creative in the way to use those items. So maybe there's going to be some interesting mechanics coming out of it. And yeah, let's see. But it's something we've never tried, so let's see how that goes.
Yeah,
Mennyire lesz ez a kesztyű népszerű?
finish off everything, basically the issue was resolved after the PTS, and should work as intended, giving both stability and accuracy bonus. But everyone is welcome.
Igen, tehát ha jól értettem, akkor a PTS-ben valamiért bagos volt ez a kesztyű, és nem lehetett rendesen tesztelni, de a talent az maradt, az tehát stabilitást és pontosságot fog nektek adni ez a kesztyű, hogyha magatok
Sorry about
veszitek.
that.
I did.
But yeah, the gist of Hunter's Fury, just to talk about it, is yes, so we are reducing the bonus on the 3-piece bonus from plus 100% health on kill to plus 50% health on kill. And the main reason for that is because on the side, with all the changes we're doing to brand sets, health bonuses are going to be much more of a thing now. And so actually having health-based builds is going to be more accessible, and therefore we wanted to make sure that Hunter's Fury, which is a great set for health builds, does not become completely overpowered with that. And giving 100% health on kill would have been ridiculous. So it's just us anticipating health builds and therefore giving more tools to make Hunter's Fury more interesting, but therefore making sure so it remains at the right level of power and doesn't become a new meta.
Yeah, thank you so much for noticing it.
Sorry.
Let's pretend that it was intentional, because last time you were criticized for shuffling your cards, and this time around I couldn't even see that there is another point left to be talked about in the
Pay
card that I
attention.
made. Okay, season pass. Yeah,
Season pass.
finally. Just a quick reminder that Season Pass is going to be available for 1,000 premium credits in the-game store.
Ugyanúgy fizetős a
It grants
Season Pass,
additional
ez
access,
minden egyes szezonnál így van.
Really cool outfit and a mask.
Ugye
called
ebben
Mental.
semmi
And
olyan
it's
extra
gonna be
dolog
available
nincsen,
basically
amit
to all the
igazából
warlords of New
a
York
játék szempontjából
owners
fontos
and
lehet, tehát nem
Ubisoft,
tartalmaz
plus
fegyvereket,
subscribers.
buildeket,
And
bár úgy
just to
értem,
show you,
hogy
a few things,
felszereléseket,
here's
vagy
Mental,
bármilyet,
by
ami
the way,
fontos lehet a játék
very cool,
szempontjából,
samurai
hanem
looking mask, and outfit, also
kizárólag
colored
ilyen
season.
fegyverszkinek, akkor nem tudom én, maszk van a végén, ha jól látom, akkor ez a maszk lesz a végén. Ezt tudom elképzelni, hogyha szeretnétek ezt a maszkot magatokénak tudni, akkor a Season Pass-t 1000 kreditpontért meg kell vásárolni hozzá. És ugye weapon skin, ládák, nem tudom én, kulcsok, mik szoktak benne lenni, textilek, amiket semmire nem tudunk felhasználni. Hát ilyesmi. Úgyhogy gyűjtők vagytok, akkor esetleg érdemes megvásárolni.
Oh, this is another outfit called Crescent.
This is
It's
Crescent, yeah.
more tactical one. And
Ezt
some
gondolom a
of the
Season
weapon
Pass-nek a
skins.
kinézetei, amik benne lesznek a fizetős részbe.
I honestly do not really remember what's the name of this one.
Nem tudom.
We don't have the names on the
Yeah,
cards.
I'm really sorry, but I really love the
and
look of it.
somehow we don't know all of them by heart.
Eddig mondjuk sem az öltözék,
Szóval
sem a...
This is a nice one.
Hát,
I think
nem
this one
tudom.
is called business casual, though.
Eddig
Yeah.
nekem
If that's the
egyik se.
incorrect name, I will personally say sorry to Pali and his whole team.
Ez mondjuk már valahogy
This one
kinéz,
is
ez
very
mondjuk
nice.
tetszik. Ez az első, ami tetszik. Ez jól néz ki. Ez az arany-fekete. Ez
So
mondjuk
yeah, season
okés.
pass available for 1000 premium credits in the
Ez
store.
nem volt sok minden.
That's something that you probably already know.
Hát 1000 kreditért
And
tudjátok a
the
Season
last
Pass-t
thing to
megvenni a
cover
játékban a store-on
for the
keresztül.
new season for Vanguard is the Apparel Events.
Yep.
And as we mentioned it early and you saw on the calendar,
És
we're
ha
going to have
szeretitek
two
a
of them.
kinézeteket, a
One is a
ruhákat,
completely new one,
akkor ugye
And
két
another
Apparel
one
Event is
coming
vár
back
ránk.
from year 2 season 3. Yes, the one from Concealed Agenda.
Was it? Okay.
This is the new one.
Ez a
And
Field
yeah,
Tactics.
this one features 4 new outfits, and fifth one is going to be a completion reward. And yeah, let's look at them.
És megint
Yes,
visszamennek
so this
ezek
is
az a
this was the idea with this
taktikus
one of, we try
military
to alternate a
elemekhez.
bit in the different styles and fantasies. So with this one, we wanted to go back to something much more military inspired. So there's a bit more armor plating here. This one is one of the heavy ones, so some shoulder pads, some ammo belts here, and
Hát, hogyha militarit
black and
szeretitek, vagy
tactical, of
ezeket a
course.
taktikus kinézeteket, akkor ez
So yeah, and then we have
egész jól néz ki.
some of our videos for them. Yes, we do. Then we played a bit also with with a
Szerintem
bit more
ehhez
camo,
hasonló
with a
van,
bit more
mondjuk
ghillie
az a
suits and things like that to use to try to create looks and styles we haven't had. So there's always room for more nice
ez nagyon
hoodies.
emlékeztet valamire engem.
But what about netted hoodies like this one, for example? So yeah,
Hát
it's
ezt meg
more
nagyjából
military,
a
more
kódból
tactical, new options that we haven't made
merítették ehhez
before.
az ihletet, ez a
Once again,
hálós.
the team is having more and
Azt
more
ott
fun
láttam
playing
ezt a
around with
hálós
what they can do in the
kinézetet.
game and creating new things. So this is pretty exciting to see all those new looks coming out.
Ez
I
is
think
jó.
this one is going to be probably my favorite.
Ez mondjuk jól néz ki.
Yeah, it looks very, very nice. This the true essence of camouflaging yourself.
And then a
Hát
bit
ez
more
meg aztán semmi
traditional,
extra.
maybe camo one and military one for people that are a bit more down to earth, but still nice looking.
Hát
bit
ez így,
more-
ahogy Janik mondja, ez nagyon
yeah.
földhöz ragadt. Én nem tudom.
It's like,
Hát most nem nagyon engedték el a
Shiva,
fantáziájukat,
Maybe a bit
azért,
more detailed and a bit
nem
more
tudom,
sleek
az
compared to
előző
what, the
event
roles that
azért
we've
az,
done in the
azért az
past.
izgibb
Nice
volt
sometimes
azokkal a
to
neon
revisit things that are closer to what
cyberpunkos
we've done
dolgokkal, nekem az
many
sokkal
years
jobban
ago, but
bejött.
adding all the learnings and all the
Ez
improvements and all the
ez a
expertise that
military,
the team has built.
amiből már van 500,
But at
mondjuk
least
ez
now
annyira nem,
we
de
have such a
bocsánat
wide
mindenkitől, aki a
range and
militarit
such a
szereti, de
variety of different styles.
mondjuk
Like
nekem
if
annyira
you
nem a
want to
világom.
be dressed down in neon stripes and cat ears, we have something for you. But also if you're a fan of concealing yourself and proper camouflage, that apparel event is for you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's ever going to be one style, but everybody is going to be, in love with and saying this is the one, and we want only that forever moving forward. If there's that, sure, but I don't think so. So it's just we're trying to alternate the different fantasies and the different styles between the more tactical, the more agent fantasy, the more military, the more civilian, and sometimes some things that are a bit more out there, like we had, with
Igen, tehát ugye próbálják variálni
next
ezeket
year's
az
the one that
apparel
we had last
elementeket,
time.
ugye próbálják
So
nyilván
we're,
mindenkinek megtalálnia.
we're trying different things, and hopefully, eventually everybody finds something.
Tehát
that they like.
próbálnak
Now,
többféle
when we were finalizing the
típusú
results of the
játékosnak
previous
kedvezni,
season,
ezért
for the,
néha hol ilyet, hol
five
olyat
stats,
hoznak be a
apparently the
játékba,
Gene Ramen,
ezekbe az apparel
the
elementekbe.
cap with the cat ears, that was
Mm.
the most popular outfit item from the
Ja,
previous
tehát a
season.
legnépszerűbb
And yeah,
ilyen
the
öltözék
last
az a
resort, the
baseball
apparel event
sapka,
is
macska
coming back,
fülekkel.
from
Yes.
Nem
yeah,
véletlenül.
from this. I think it was Concealed Agenda. It
Last
says so in
Resort,
my
akkor ez
notes,
lesz a
so probably
második
that is correct.
Must be
apparel
right.
event, a Last
Must be
Resort.
right. But then again, I was the one compiling the notes, so who knows?
So Pastaria knew what she was writing. But yeah, so yeah. Anyway, it's from year 2 for sure, and yeah, this was built on the factions of Warlords of New York, as mentioned earlier. So there's 2 outfits, 2 Riker-inspired outfits, 2 Cleaners-inspired outfits.
Tehát
I
inkább
think
a
there's like one
Rikereknek
heavy one and
ez a
one lighter one for
narancssárga
each of those
Rikereknek az
factions.
öltözéke.
So some really
Most azt hozzák vissza egy
nice and
kicsit.
popular pieces. So if you were not here when that Apparel event was running a few years ago, well, now is your chance to catch up. I mean, not
Ja nem,
now,
ez
but
volt,
When
és
is
ezt
this
hozzák
season.
When is this
vissza.
wave coming back? My favorite one.
Jól
let's do a
értettem?
poll. Let's ask the community when they want to see Heatwave come back.
I know that it's one of those things that me and community we cannot.
Jól értettem, akkor ez már volt, és akkor
but
ezt
it was fun. I
visszahozzák.
think
Tehát,
it
hogyha
was
annó
very
nem
fitting
tudtátok
for
befejezni,
watching fun.
akkor most itt a
Maybe one day we
lehetőség.
could
Akkor
revisit
egy újat
a
kapunk, és egy
summer-inspired
ismétlés.
beach-themed Apparel event. But I guarantee you the team today would do something that would probably look a bit better.
Flip-flops for the win. One last thing to mention, it's not a part of the apparel event. It's gonna be one of the few cosmetic bundles, something new that the team is also working on. But this is what players have been asking for a long time, and basically all the outfits of Keener and his lieutenants gonna be available throughout the season, so you can buy the whole look. I don't know if you were a fan of, I don't know, Kajika or Dragov
Yeah,
or Keener.
you will be able to dress yourself up as one of the characters of Warlords of New York. These are uniforms, so they are complete looks. And they will be made available throughout the season on the store for you to purchase.
Tehát a storeból
And the
meg
idea is
tudjátok azt a
we're
csomagot
going back to New York, we're
vásárolni,
going to be
hogyha
trying
megvan
to,
nektek
to
ugye a
find
Warlords of
Kelso,
New
going
York
through all those
DLC,
locations that we visited,
és ugye
where we fought all
Keenernek ott
those,
van a csapata,
all
és
those
az
bad
ő
guys. So
öltözéküket
it felt like
kompletten úgy,
right
ahogy
time
van a
to actually
Kajika,
bring back those looks and
meg az összes
well,
többinek
make them available.
az öltözékét meg tudjátok
I'm so
vásárolni,
looking
de
forward to
ez
seeing
csak a
this
storeból,
outfit.
tehát ez nem lesz benne a Season Pass-ben,
But
hanem
that's pretty much it.
csak kizárólag pénzért a storeból.
About the new season, Vanguard, it's going to be available tomorrow, right after the maintenance.
Tehát holnap lesz ugye a szokásos keddi karbantartás délelőtt, és be fogják tölteni ezt a 3-as szezont.
But that's not everything that we wanted to talk about this stream. The next big thing that we're moving to is Project Resolve. And since we already had stream where we covered pretty much everything.
És akkor ugye ez volt a 3-as szezonnak a bemutatója, és átmegyünk a Project Resolve-ra, ugye, ami egy elég nagy témakör, és sok mindent magába foglal. Ugye itt ez semmi új tartalmat nem jelent a játék szempontjából, hanem már a meglévő játékon próbálnak alakítani, kiegyensúlyozni dolgokat, tehát egy kicsit ilyen karbantartás jellegű dolognak képzeljétek el.
We still have the video on our Twitch channel with the live stream with me and Yannick, and also the message from Yannick himself and our producer in Bucharest, Radu, where they explain what Project Resolve is.
Tehát ugye a megelőző special reportban, amit egyébként az én csatornámon is megtaláltuk, tehát ott elég részletesen beszélünk, vagy beszéltek annó erről a special reportról, illetve erről a Project Resolve-ról, hogy mit tartalmaz részletesen. Úgyhogy ha részletek érdekelnek benneteket, akkor ott ezt vissza tudjátok nézni.
Bringing new features to the game, making sure that stability feels much better and there are less crashes, and those of you who tried the game on the PTS, you know that it really is true, and we managed to tackle a lot of things.
Yeah, and I think it was, it was needed for the game to take the time to actually do some fixes and work on improvements and all of that. But I mean, again, the foundation of this is really improving the quality more than all the quality of life, which is what we've done as well.
Janik, amiről beszél, hogy próbálnak minőségi fejlesztés végrehajtani a játékon, tehát amit mondtam, hogy nem újdonságok, hanem a már meglévő játéknak a minőségén próbálnak javítani.
But I think it was also great for the team, and the team did a good job at, tackling all of that and accepting the change of schedule and roadmap as well, because we had to change our content plan because of that, which is never easy. But it's
És ugye ezért
what's
volt
been
az, hogy
amazing
sok
is to
mindent
see everybody
eltoltak.
react to that and
Ugye
the
kicsit
excitement
kitolták
in the
a
team for people to actually
szezonokat,
be
a
able to go back
határidőket,
and
ugye
fix
saját
stuff.
maguknak, hogy ezeket a
As you know, like,
változtatásokat
bugs are
véghez
frustrating
tudják
for
vinni.
everybody playing, but bugs are frustrating for us as well. Like nobody likes to ship something that is broken or that is bugged. And very often, people would like to actually go back and take the time to fix those things. And our content plans don't necessarily always allow for a lot of time to do some bug fixing. So when we told the team, okay, we're going to put everything on hold and you go back through your backlogs and you're going to be able to fix all those bugs, a lot of people were actually very excited to get to do that. And I think this shows in the numbers. The amount of bugs that were fixed, the amount of improvements that were put in here, this was way beyond our expectations when we started working on this. So it's just, kudos to the team for really pushing through this and delivering something that hopefully is going to make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And even working
reméljük, hogy
through all the
megérte.
changes,
Ugye
sitting
elvileg
through all the sprints, trying,
most már majd fogjuk
personally,
látni
it's
ezeket a
my personal
javításokat.
experience, trying to wrap my mind around
Hamarosan.
all the plan changes and fixes. That's a very grandiose work.
Ugye ez egy
that's
folyamat,
been
azt ne
done by the
felejtsük el,
team.
tehát
So congratulations,
folyamatosan fogják
to
ezeket
all
a
of my
dolgokat majd
colleagues and
betölteni.
Bucharest, for making it happen. And we really hope that all of you will be able to find something in Project Resolve that corresponds and resonates with you specifically. And with the rest of the community, I mean, stability improvements, that's one of the biggest milestones.
Yes.
But since I mentioned that we won't be going through everything that we showed last time, mostly because we already had the Project Resolve dedicated live stream that goes into very specific and nitty-gritty details.
Tehát arról beszélnek, hogy még egyszer, hogyha részletesen kíváncsiak vagytok, hogy miről szól ez a Project Resolve, akkor továbbra is elérhető a livestream a Twitchen, hogyha fent vagytok, tehát vissza tudjátok nézni, és az én csatornámon is ugyanígy az én kommentárommal is megtaláljátok a Project Resolve-ot, az előző Special Reportban beszéltek róla. Tehát vissza tudjátok nézni.
But the important thing, the biggest, the most important improvements, balancing changes, new features, that's in the patch notes. Maybe some smaller stuff that we missed.
That we know of.
Yes.
És ugye természetesen ott van a patch notes.
There is a rogue dev somewhere that made a change and didn't inform the chain of command.
Tartalmazza ezeket a módosításokat.
Not allowed to face the camera anymore.
Tehát, hogyha nincs időtök visszanézni, akkor vissza is lehet olvasni.
But yeah, there are a few things that I would love to highlight Project Resolve-wise, and I think we should start with the combat gear lock, because that is the topic that generated a lot of discussions during the PTSs.
Yeah.
Ezt most hirtelen nem tudom, mire gondoljak.
Yeah, and with gear lock, I mean, we're not going to go through the whole thing again, but it's, we thought it was an important change needed for the game, and I still believe, partially that this is an important change. But ultimately, I mean, the feedback has been very strong and very convincing that we need to find another way to address the problems we are trying to address, and something that is maybe a bit less impactful in terms of the many years of playing the game and habits that players that you have developed playing the game. So our intention was not to just completely change the way you think about your builds and you think about engaging with content, and we didn't want to limit the options. That wasn't our intention, and it's become clear that this change which we felt was fairly minor in terms of impact. We realized that actually many more people than we thought like to be able to change their gear on the fly and during combat. So we put it back. You're allowed to, or we put it back. We removed gear lock, and so this is going to
ugye, hogyha harcban vagy, akkor nem tudsz kiosztást váltani.
On the live game, basically. So you will be able to change your gear. But the caveat is that we still want to bring it to conflict. We still think it's important for the vision that we're trying to implement in conflict and all the changes we're making, and making conflict a bit more of a structured PvP mode. So it will not be implemented in TU20 because we had to revert it everywhere, but we're going to extract the part that applies it to conflict and implement that one in the game again with TU20.1. So expect Gearlock to come back in conflict only with TU20.1.
Tehát először csak a konfliktba csinálják meg, és akkor utána a 20.1-es title update-tel viszik át a játékba? Ezt nem biztos, hogy jól értettem.
By popular vote, removal of combat gear lock wins except for conflict.
You win that one time.
There were a lot of discussions, not only within the community, also among the team members and.
Yeah, I mean it was very polarizing, and even amongst the team, and we had a lot of great discussions on our side as well on this, and we have some ideas on what we can do in the future that hopefully could address the issues we are trying to address without having to drastically change the experience. But that's future talk.
Yeah, and since we already started talking about conflict, there are also a few
aki sokat konfliktozik, most figyeljen.
Project Results, some of them you probably already know about, some of them were available on PTS. But yeah, just to recite everything, extended loot pool, Cache is gonna be giving more items.
A ládák, hogy a konfliktus ládákból több cuccot fogtok kapni.
There was a significant XP boost.
Több tapasztalatpontot, tehát XP-t is fogtok kapni.
And I think we mentioned it already, but just once again, shade and expertise bonuses were removed from the conflict. I know that there were also some feedback regarding that, and some
és akkor az SHD meg az expertise szintet fogják visszavenni, tehát így balanszolják jobban. Ugye a Dark Zónákhoz nem fognak hozzányúlni, ezt Janik már az előző special reportban is mondta, hogy azt az expertise-t azt nem fogják kivenni a Dark Zónákból, de a konfliktból viszont igen.
The purest PvP experience, where gear still matters, but the optimization of your gear and the time you've spent optimizing that gear is less important, and what is more important is your skill as a player. So your gear matters, but it shouldn't be the deciding factor between you and another player. What we want to be the deciding factor between you and another player is how good of a player are you playing this cover-based shooter game, and going back to a more shooter feel.
Igazából amit szeretnének elérni, és egyébként ezt értem, hogy nem szeretnék azt, hogy a felszerelés döntse el két játékos között, hogy melyikük a jobb, hanem a játékosoknak a képessége döntse el, ezért veszik ki a konfliktból az expertise-t.
So this is the differentiation we wanted to make, and with that in mind, we still really think that it's important to take shade levels and expertise out of the equation, because these are stats that are basically just increased by your playtime and the efforts you've put into the game. They are optimization stats that...
Tehát ez mondjuk azoknak a játékosoknak előnyös, akik mondjuk nem szívesen mennek be mondjuk a Dark Zónába, vagy kevesebb PvP-t játszanak, de mégis szeretnék néha PvP-zni, kipróbálni magukat, akkor ugye nekik elsősorban ebből a szempontból jobb a konflikt.
Please keep your feedback coming. It's still very important, and as you noticed with the example of the combat gear lock, even strongest opinions can be overruled by having enough feedback from the community.
Well, and I mean, I don't want to make it sound like if you scream loud enough, we're going to change, but it's we want to see it in action, and we want to see how people interact with it, and we want to see the conversation online between people and see the pros and cons and what the vast majority of people think. So yeah, we put it out there, and of course, as everything is a bad game, nothing is ever set.
Fogjátok tudni tesztelni ezt, hogy harc közben tudtok majd kiosztást váltani, úgyhogy meglátjuk, hogy működik.
So yeah, we are not going to just put this and say, okay, our work is done. There's more things we need to look at.
But that's also the gist of the Project Resolve. Like, it's not a singular update that happened once and it will never be touched again.
Yep.
No, it's like a continuation. It's a process. And there are going to be changes and adjustments following this release as well. And of course, we're going to keep you informed and as much as we can. Talking about other changes, because I think we cover pretty much everything conflict-wise. There is also Dark Zone that I would love to mention.
Most beszéljünk egy kicsit a
For the
Dark Zone-áról.
There were feedback and discussions regarding the rogue activation timer, and it was also changed. Now it's going to be 3 seconds.
Tehát 3 másodperc alatt tudjátok benyomni,
so
hogy rugók
sweet
legyetek.
spot we think we've landed on with the PTS, and the idea here again is to. I said earlier the Dark Zone is not about fairness, but we still want to make sure that players have an opportunity to react when someone is going rogue, and that is just for non-invaded Dark Zone, by the way. For invaded
És
Dark
ez
Zone,
csak a
the timer
nem
remains at
invaded
0.75
Dark
as it
Zónákban
is.
lehetséges.
So it's also bringing some differentiation between invaded and non-invaded.
Tehát
So
ezzel
if
is
you're really
különbséget
after
tesznek
the
a
tough,
nem
hardcore
invaded,
Dark Zone
tehát ugye
experience,
tudjátok, ahol a
invaded is
kés
probably
jel
more for
van,
you.
ugye azok az invaded Dark,
we
az az
wanted to
invaded
give a
Dark
bit more
Zóna.
chance to react.
Különbség lesz
And we
zónák
don't want.
között.
It's not that we don't want players to go rogue in the Dark Zone. It's just we want that to be a strategic decision you make. So you need to, to commit and to really. It can't be just something on just in the moment. It's something you need to find a space. You activate your rogue timer and then you come out again and now you're rogue. Once again, we'll see how that plays out on the game and we'll adjust if needed. But yeah. We're pretty happy with this one.
And another thing to quickly mention that also the first rogue rank duration was increased from 20 to 30 seconds in alignment with the previous change. And yeah, what else? Expertise. No changes here.
Ez nem sok minden volt a Dark Zónával kapcsolatosan, de ez is valami. És akkor az expertise-zel.
The initial idea behind expertise changes. The costs were lowered to make it more accessible, and the feedback was good, but that's what people wanted for a long time, I guess.
It's less grindy, it's faster to progress through levels, so what's not to like here? We just wanted to make expertise a bit more
Szerintem ezt a táblát
for
már
more
láttuk.
players and make it less
Tehát kevesebb cuccot kell beadni ahhoz, hogy fejlesszétek az expertise szinteteket.
And before we move to
ahogy itt a
one of the
táblán
new
látjátok.
features, I just wanted to remind everyone that if you have any questions, please leave them in the chat. They will be collected by our community managers, for me and Yannick, to answer live once we are done showing all the changes. So that's your chance to ask a question. And that's next thing that it's not really in connection to expertise, but also in connection kinda as the new feature that we talked about a lot. It is called tinkering.
Na, ez a tinkering, ugye erről is volt szó a megelőző special reportban, ugye a Recalibration Station-t fogják átnevezni Tinkering Stationnek, és elvileg, ez már a PTS-ben is így működött egyébként, hogy bárhonnan, bárhol vagy a térképen, tehát nem kell a fehérházban lenni, hogy hozzáférj az asztalhoz. Menüből, az inventory menüből el tudod érni az asztalt. Tehát pont ezt mutatják, ott látjátok, tehát megnyitjátok az inventoryt, és akkor ott rögtön ott van a menü, hogy Tinkering Station, és akkor ugyanúgy hozzáfértek a könyvtárhoz, a rekalibrációhoz, az optimalizáláshoz. Egy kicsit változott a menünek a kinézete, de ez ne zavarjon titeket, mert egyébként minden más, az összes funkció marad, sőt,
go back to the base of operation.
Ahogy a képen is látjátok, sokkal több információ elérhető már a gíreken, ha megnyitjátok, tehát látszik, hogy melyiket tudjátok rekalibrálni, melyiket tudjátok optimalizálni, mi kell hozzá, és ezt tényleg bárhol a világban eléritek.
There's almost two division games, you know. There's the game where you're in the action and you're playing the shooter game, and then there's the inventory management game that is just equally as long, if not longer, where you're in.
Ugye 4 menüpont volt, ugye külön volt szedve a rekalibráció és külön volt szedve az optimalizálás. Most ezt egy menüpontban, a tinkeringben éritek el.
One big aspect of that was the recalibration and the optimization, and we felt that this is something that maybe belonged a bit more in the action part, and the idea is just, it's, you know, if you're dropping a piece of loot during a mission or while playing anything, that is almost an upgrade. All you would need is to optimize it or to recalibrate it, and it would be an upgrade. Why not be able to do that directly and then go back into the action with your upgraded loot? Why have you, wait until the next time you're going to back to a base of operation? So with tinkering, we not only improved the flow, but also made it, yes, available directly through the inventory, and you can do it on the go, you can do it wherever you want. You can still go to the station, as in this video, you can still go to a station to do it, but you have the exact same functionality directly from in your inventory. And the great thing is that you can not only open the tinkering station from your inventory, but you can also, and we don't see that in the video, but you can actually also directly from any item in your inventory, you can recalibrate it and optimize it without having to go through the tinkering screen, which is probably the best improvement we have here. And I don't know if a lot of people noticed that, but you can, while you're changing your equipment, you're in your backpacks, you want to change your backpack, you can directly recalibrate or optimize this backpack from that screen. You don't even have to go through the tinkering screen to do that. So it's going to be a huge gain of time.
Tehát amit mond, hogy még csak be se kell lépni a tinkering menübe, hanem valahogyan a cuccodon keresztül tudod egyszerűen kalibrálni a dolgaidat.
Specific item selected, it's going to open tinkering features for this specific highlighted item.
So yeah, it's reusing the existing mechanics, but just making it much more accessible and much more friendly to use. So
ugye ez is ennek a Project Resolve-nak az egyik lépése.
Optimizing more things and recalibrating more things. This also includes the expertise, by the way, even though we didn't mention that, but that also allows you to donate items and to increase expertise on items from the inventory as well, or from the tinkering screen in the inventory as well. So you don't
mondjuk ez is egy nagyon jó újítás, tehát például nem kell állandóan visszafutkozni a fehérházba, hogy az expertízbe szeretnél cuccot beadni, hanem tényleg ott vagy a helyszínen, és közvetlenül onnan meg tudod tenni. Ezt én abszolút nagyon jó újításnak tartom.
For the global events, and we extensively talked about them last time. Also not something that was available on the PTS, just because it's not technically possible to switch on, switch off.
Ugye a globál eventekben is lesznek változtatások, bár ez a PTS-ben nem volt benne.
Video to highlight some of the gameplay changes. Some of them more visible than others, but we will walk you through them.
De elvileg kapunk egy kis videós összefoglalót arról, hogy
through a gameplay video
milyen változtatások lesznek. Tehát itt a Guardians, ugye a Guardians kell először kilőni, hogy az összes többit meg tudjuk ölni.
But basically, so here we have Guardian. So one of the big changes we've made with Guardian is that now you actually can damage NPCs that are guarded. You're just going to, do much less damage. But if you have this rusher that is coming your way and that rusher is protected by a Guardian, you will be able to take it down, which was one of the biggest, frustration with Guardian.
Tehát, hogyha jól értem, akkor a Guardiannel őrzött ellenfeleket ugye most már fogod tudni sebezni, független attól, hogy a Guardiant nem lőtted le, csak sokkal kisebb lesz a sebzésed.
We've made a few changes here and there to try to make it more fun and more rewarding, and that's been the general gist with those global events, and what we've been trying to achieve is just make it more fun when you actually play it right and less punishing when you don't play it right. Because Obviously, our benchmark was
ezzel
Golden
igazából egy
Bullet,
kicsit
which we know is by far the
élvezetesebbé
most
szerették
popular
volna
global
tenni a
event.
játékot,
But it is popular because it's very
hogy
straightforward.
ne
It's like,
büntessen
shoot the
annyira a
right NPC
játék,
and
hogyha
then you get
nem
the buff,
a
and
szerint
then you're
játszod,
just going
ahogy
to,
ugye elő
be
van
godlike
írva.
for the duration of the buff. And we wanted the other global events to be a bit more on par with that philosophy of like, just do the thing and then have fun. If you do it wrong, it's fine. Try again and have fun. No reason to punish you.
Ez volt akkor a Hollywood.
So for Hollywood,
Yeah,
triple the explosion.
Ugye ez a
Hollywood is just
robbantással.
bigger explosions because that's what it's about. And also the big change we've made is because it is a global event that is about explosions and about your signature weapon. That's actually the global event where you should be able to play your signature weapon the most. We've made it now so when you're killing NPCs, you can drop signature ammo directly on your location, so you don't have to go there. It's much more generous in signature weapon ammo as well.
Hát arról beszélnek ugye, hogy a
it's really the
Hollywood
one
event
where
az
when you
igazából
play
arról
fight,
szól,
you
hogy
should be
ebben az
able to
eventben
keep your
tudjátok
signature
leginkább
weapon
kihasználni
for a much longer duration.
a
So it's
specializációs
really the
fegyvert,
Rampage global event,
és
where you're
ugye
doing
amikor
explosions
ezzel a
and,
robbantással, ugye a
and
speckó
using grenade
fegyverrel
launchers
megölitek az
or
ellenséget, ugye akkor nem
flamethrowers
kell
or
futkozni,
whatever,
összeszedni az
from
ammót,
all
hanem valahogyan az
directions and,
közvetlenül oda
and yeah,
mellétek, vagy
stuff
mellénk fogjuk kapni, ha jól értettem, tehát
then after that, I don't know
ezzel
what
próbálják
we
így
have.
élvezetesebbé tenni a játékot.
Interesting.
Meg nagyobb robbanás lesz
find
állítólag.
out.
Polarity switch.
Polarity switch.
Yay.
Polarity
Yeah, so
switch, hát
polarity
ezt
switch
gyűlölöm
is,
a legjobban.
there's two things we wanted to do, and this one was one of the examples of a global event that can be punishing when you do it wrong, because here it was,
Ezt nagyon nem szeretem
you know,
ezt az
you have to
eventet,
respect the
vagy-
polarity of the
ez nem-
NPCs, but if you shoot the wrong NPC, you lose your buff, and that can be punishing really fast, or not punishing, but at least frustrating, because you know your polarity changes when you reload, and so you're not always in control of what polarity you have, and you think you have the right one and you have the wrong. So now we've made two drastic changes with it. The first one is that you only lose stacks when you kill an NPC of the wrong polarity, not when you shoot it. So it's much more forgiving. You hopefully will notice before the NPC is dead. And the second one is that when you're killing NPCs of the right polarity, we are refilling, I can't remember if it's all or part of your magazine. But the idea is that, especially taking the reload out of the equation, which was one of the main issues that kind of took you out of the flow when you were playing polarity switch, was like, I'm in a good flow, I'm in yellow, and I'm killing yellow NPCs. But now I need to reload. Now I'm blue, but I was preparing for this, and
Hát igazából
so now
amiről
it's,
beszélnek, ugye, hogy nem
hopefully the
lesz,
flow
nem
is
fog
just
annyira
gonna feel a bit
büntetni a
more
játék,
natural
hogyha
and fun.
elvéted a
And also the
polaritást. Tehát
stats will
mondjuk
go
a
up from 5
sárga,
to 4, and the
ugye, hogyha
bonus
karót
per
sárga,
stack
és
was
akkor mondjuk
increased,
kék ellenfelet
to
lősz,
25%
akkor
from
annyira nem fog
20.
Yeah.
büntetni a
So-
játék.
Actually, stacks are more powerful, and it's going to be easier to reach max stacks. So it's also going to
Tehát
feel
könnyebb
a bit
lesz
more
stackelni.
What's next? It's like a chocolate box. Shade exposed.
Shade exposed, yeah. So with
A
shade exposed,
expose,
it's
ez
just
nekem
it's
annyira
just
se a
tweaking
kedvencem, mondjuk.
and fidgeting with the buff to try to make it more efficient, to try to keep the uptime run a bit longer, to try to really focus on the fun of the gameplay, the cover to cover mechanic, applying the pulse to everyone, and really feeling like when NPCs are pulsed, you get to do all the fun stuff. So it's no drastic changes, but just more efficient and a
Hát
bit more
ebben
fun.
nem
Yeah,
sok
the
mindent láttam.
pulse radius was increased, and now you only take 65% damage compared to 150% that was before, if you hit the pulsed enemies.
Yep.
And the last one,
finally,
reanimated.
reanimated.
Ugye ez,
Yeah,
amikor
reanimated is
fejlővéssel kell
just,
meglőni őket, vagy megölni
what did
őket,
we
és
do with
akkor
this
ugye
one? I
nem
think we
élednek
increased
újra.
the explosion, or the smoke when you headshot enemies, and I think then we've increased the bonuses you get from that,
From the
the headshots. So same, just I almost want to say more dumb, but in a good way. Click on heads, have fun.
A robbanás erején
we're
módosítottak,
going to
amikor
say
ugye
headshots, yeah,
felrobban, amikor
probably not.
fejlővéssel
There
megölik.
was one later on, but we already covered it. But I mean, it's up.
És akkor Golden Bullethez ugye nem nyúlnak hozzá, mert ugye mindenkinek az a kedvence, úgyhogy azt nem, nyilván azzal nem akarnak, nem akarnak belenyúlni.
Upgraded, reinvented.
Yeah. Yeah, and we can always tweak them even more, but it's hopefully they are going to make, seeing other global events a bit less of like, here comes the shot, here comes the headshot, nice. It's just going to be
Ugye arról beszélnek, ugye, hogy már orvérzésig játszok újra ezeket a globál eventeket, és most őszintén nem hoz semmi újdonságot, ugye nyilván, mikor az ember már 20-szor játsza őket újra, de hát ezzel próbálnak egy kicsit újdonságot, valamilyen szinten újdonságot hozni a játékba, és egy kicsit élvezetesebbé tenni ezeket az eventeket.
Two more positive news. I promise that we're gonna go back to Descent because there are a few other things that we need to cover besides the new exotic gun.
Descent, arról még nem volt szó, csak egy picikét. Ugye, csak egy fegyver, amit a Descentben lehet majd megszerezni, de ha megszerzitek ott, akkor bárhol lehet használni majd.
And I lost the card, but we'll just recite them from memory.
Take my card. You lead.
First of all, talent pool rotation. That is also another thing that we received a lot of helpful feedback on during the PTS phases, and was decided to shorten the rotation from originally it was supposed to be a week. Now it's going to be only 3 days. So every 3 days you're going to have an updated talents pool.
Három naponta lehet
lehet
majd egy új talentkörből választani, amit magatokra tudtok venni. Ez 3 naponta változik
I don't know, maybe
majd.
you wanted to comment.
No, but I know that some people have
annyi
thoughts
van,
on the idea of the talent rotation, but what we're trying to fight here is just that every season we're adding more talents and it's getting harder and harder. And
Ugye most arról beszél, ugye, hogy rengeteg talent van a
So we want
játékban.
something that's a bit more curated around specific playstyles. And we know that the current, the existing curation of talents in the pools we have is not necessarily the most popular for everyone. So we'll see. And that's something that can live over time, and that's going to organically grow and change depending on feedback. So if some talents we find out don't really work in this pool, they can go in another pool and we can...
Ezen még lehet, hogy fognak változtatni bizonyos talentek, ugye majd a visszajelzések alapján, hogy ami nem sokaknak nem szimpi, azt lehet, hogy egy idő után ki fogják venni a játékból, de ugye ez majd kellenek a játékos visszajelzések.
A bit easier to get into and to get what you want and to reach a level of power that makes the experience satisfying and makes you ready to go face the nemesis, which you will face faster because of the changes we've made as well. It should just make Descent a bit more streamlined in a way.
Legyen rövidebb.
Yeah, talking about nemesis, the minimal requirement for the loop is loop 4 now, and the maximum is 9. So you can reach Nemesis faster, but then again, as it is with Descent, reaching Nemesis faster, is it really a good thing or not?
It's your choice.
Depends also on
Hát,
the
4 loop kör alatt is el lehet érni a Nemezis, de ugye nem biztos, hogy az a legjobb megoldás.
Another thing that we need to mention, and now we're going to have 4 new outfits also available through Descent with 4 different color variations. I also know that a lot of people like them during the PTS. Outfits, it's always great.
Lesz 4 új kinézet is, ami a Descenten keresztül elérhető.
In the NC Tech Store. That is not what some of the players were asking about following the PTS, but this is another thing that you can find information in the dev commentary and regarding the potential prices. I don't know, do we want to comment on it?
I'm not sure what you're talking about, so.
Okay, let's just skip it then. Just a brain fart. It happens. And also decrease the requirements for rewards from 1 to 5 loops, and you will be able to receive more loot caches and rewards for completing the same number of loops as before.
So again, it's just going to be, it's going to be a bit faster, it's going to be rewarding, there's more things in the
kicsit gyorsabb is lesz,
store
meg
in the shop that is connected to Descent.
jutalmazóbb is lesz, tehát több
be,
értékesebb cuccokat lehet kihozni a Descentből.
we have more options now, and once again, we look at the economy of it and we'll make adjustments if needed.
Yeah, I'm just going to remind about the changes that were made previously that you also
Meg
can
hát
find
ugye
on
ezt
the
a
Trello
fegyót.
board regarding the percentage chance of dropping specific caches, and also Nemesis cache that is now much easier to obtain than it was before because it's a 50% chance. But yeah, there is the Vindicator again.
Vindicator.
Looks cool, only available in Descent. Not gonna be dropping anywhere else anytime soon. But the price is very affordable. And
Arról viszont ugye
It's-
nem
it's
beszélnek, hogy
predictable,
biztos,
that's
hogy
the most important
megkapod-e,
thing, because
hogyha
you can
megcsinálod
get
a
it on the shop as well.
descentet.
So it's the good thing with this is it doesn't have to be
De
a
elvileg
very
csak
low
onnan
drop
tudod
rate, and you
kiszedni.
have to grind the mode and again and again and again for 8 chance to get it. There is a predictable path to it. So you just you get the currency and you can save up to eventually purchasing it. So if you really want it, you can be confident you will be able to buy it eventually.
És meg
I
is
think
tudjátok
that's pretty
vásárolni.
much it for Descent regarding project resolve changes. But we still have a few more quality of life updates that I would love to highlight. And we'll probably start with the skill modes because there is a new system, duplicate removal for skill modes. So do you want
Yeah. So the idea with skill modes, and
Igen, a
that's
skill módosítóknál vannak ugye ilyen
that's one step in that
duplikációk.
direction, also of
Ezt,
trying to make
próbálják
inventory
felszámolni.
management a bit less cumbersome. But with skill mods, what we've decided to do is that you can only have one copy of each bonus, and so now
Ha
when
minden
you
igaz,
drop
akkor nem
a new
fog
mod that
engedni a
has
játék
a
ugyanabból a
better roll on
módosítóból
that same
többet
bonus, it's just going to upgrade the one you have
tárolni,
in your inventory and auto deconstruct and everything. So basically what that means
hanem
is that
automatikusan
you no
mindig csak a
longer need to
legjobbat
hold on to
fogja
3 copies of
felajánlani
the same
neked.
bonus and then go back in your inventory and be like, wait, which one is the best, but which one do I have equipped and what's going on here? The game is going to do all of that for you. So you just
Tehát nem
can
kell variálni
just
abban, hogy mondjuk
need to
éppen
go
melyik
hunt
van.
for better
Mondjuk felszedsz
versions,
egy
but
módosítót,
then
és
once you
akkor
find
esetleg
them,
úgy emlékezel, hogy az jobb, mint amelyik mondjuk valamelyik loadoutodban már be van téve, és akkor most jaj, melyiket cserélgesd ki, stb. Nem, ezt igazából a rendszer, a játék megcsinálja helyetted. Janik szerint.
depending on basically the skill mode that was deconstructed. But that's not it. There was also an update made to Stash, and we have a video to show. Basically now you will be able to see the item count of the stash displayed when approaching it, so you do not really need to assess it and open it.
Tehát amit
to
itt
know
látjátok, a közelmentek a stash,
how
az akkor
many
meg
slots you
tudjátok
have.
nézni, hogy hány darab
it's a small
tárgyatok
touch,
van
but it
benne,
helps.
és akkor ugye nem kell
So you
nem
just,
kell
as you
belépni
walk
a
through it, you get a direct
menübe,
indication
ennyi.
of how
Hogy
full it is
lássátok, hogy
and
hány
what's in there. So
tárgyatok
these
van a
are the,
stashben, hanem
the
így
small
külső
things
menüből
that
elérhető lesz a
when you
szám.
add all of them on top of each other, it just makes the experience a bit like removes some of the friction of the experience. So isolated, maybe
Ugye
not
ez
a
az
huge
hasonló,
change,
amikor
but
ugye
it's a
felvesztek
nice
valami
touch.
cuccot, és akkor ugye a
when
hátizsákon
you're
megjelenik
passing by,
a
for example,
ugyanígy az
cache
inventoryban,
works,
hogy hány
something to
tárgy
have.
van már az
Yep.
inventoritokban.
One last feature that I wanted to highlight, and I saved it for the very end. There is going to be a new vendor added. Not starting
egy új
from
vendor?
tomorrow. It's going to be also 20.1, and this is a textile vendor.
20.1-es title update.
Beaver.
Yeah, and so this is finally a
Textilárus!
vendor that's going to sell
Hát ez a
new stuff
legjobb.
for textiles. So it's for those players, those of you,
Végre
who
valahára.
are sitting on a lot of textiles and have
48
nothing to
millió
spend it on.
textillel végre lehet
And we
csinálni.
want to make textiles a bit more interesting. So now you will have this vendor that you will need to locate
Jaj, de
in
jó.
a similar way to the way you need to locate Cassie Mendoza.
És ugyanúgy meg kell
He's
találni
called
majd a
Danny
térképen,
Weaver,
mint a Cassie
and, as
Mendozát.
you can see, you can buy
És
caches
textilért lehet
for textiles. Those
vásárolni
caches are on
nála,
the
jaj,
limited
de jó.
stock, so you cannot buy an infinite amount of them. You will be only able
Hát
to
ez tényleg így lesz,
buy
akkor
a
mindenki egy
certain
halom
amount per location.
egzotikus ládát fog vásárolni,
So
szerintem.
don't go out there expecting you're going to be able to spend hundreds of thousands on unlimited exotic caches. There is some limitations here, but at least over time, you know, that
tehát
becomes one of
nem
those
Oké, tehát ha
things you do
mondjuk
on a
van,
regular
nem tudom, egy
basis of going to
100
check
000
the slot of
textiled,
weapon
nem
or
fogsz
buy the
tudni az
cash
összesért
and then come back next time.
egzotikus
this
ládát venni,
specific
mert
vendor
lesz
would
egy
not
maximum,
be,
amit meg tudsz egyszerre
shown in the
vásárolni.
patch notes, for
Ez nem olyan
tomorrow,
jó, de
since it's
azért örüljünk annak
20.1,
is, hogy
but
végre a
once
tesztilünket
we are
valami
there,
értelmes
we'll update
dologra el
information
tudjuk
about
költeni.
the rotation and all the stuff that you can get from Danny Beaver. I just love that their surname is Beaver. Very on brand.
Sometimes we're just incredibly creative.
Was it Lauren who came up with the idea? Hello, Lauren. That's almost it. A few other things that I want to mention before we move to answering your questions.
Minden egyéb.
Just a few quick things. With the project Resolve, we also added a few new commendations for the Paradise Lost incursion. All the details you will be able to find in the patch notes after the live stream. So don't miss it. It's going to be on our website and all the social media, the usual stuff.
Just one comment on this is just that, okay, it's commendations on the incursion and what's the big deal. And the big deal is that we can do commendations again. We relearned how to do that. And I know that some of the new commendation hunters have been asking for that for a while, and we've released a bunch of content with the game without commendations. So we're going to try to, retroactively start adding commendations to content.
Ugye ezek a commendationok, ugye ezt a progression menübe találjátok meg, ugye bizonyos feladatokat kell teljesíteni ahhoz, hogy kapjátok ezeket a commendation pontokat végül is. Ugye ez emeli ezeket a tier szinteteket, amit ugye a felvarrótokon is lehet látni, ezt a római számot. És most ugye arról beszélt Janik, hogy nagyon-nagyon sok új tartalom jött a játékba, de ugye nem adtak hozzá commendationokat. És most ezt pótolják, tehát például a Paradise Lost-hoz is lesznek ilyen commendationok. Tehát ilyen kihívások, amiket lehet teljesíteni.
The full details in the patch notes again. And one last thing, since there were a lot of balancing changes made, and that's not something that we covered specifically in this live stream, but status effects, talents, weapons, gear sets, some of them underwent a lot of changes. And in response to this, we decided to wipe out the leader sports. There are a lot of them.
Not all of them, but a lot of them.
A lot of them, yes. And some that I need to mention, the Kinley College, Strongholds, Raids, Standard and Invaded Solomon Group. We do not have the full list yet. It's just for the general information. But
yeah, it's just some of them are here since the launch of the game and have never really been purged. So we felt that with Project Resolve it was time to actually do a wipe on them and start fresh to really try to highlight the performances of our current players and remove the pollution we've had from the past with some of the abuse and exploits and even not necessarily pollution, but even old achievements that have been made by people who no longer play the game. So we thought it made sense to wipe a lot of the leaderboards in the game. And again, we'll get the full list and give that to you so you can see which ones are and which ones are not. We're trying to be respectful of some of the best achievements like raid leaderboards and this kind of stuff. But yeah, like mission ones and like specific activities
játékmódoknak, raideknek
will be wiped.
az
And that's
eredményeit
something that we
úgy
can
tűnik
consider moving forward,
törlik,
potentially to do
nullázzák.
that on a more regular basis as well, to make sure that we keep the leaderboards actually up to date with
Tehát így próbáljuk napra készíteni ezeket az eredményeket, vagy esetleg törölni olyanokat, amik valamilyen ilyen exploit kapcsán születtek meg, tehát ugye értjük ez alatt, hogy nem normál, idézőjelben téve nem normál játékkal. És akkor most jönnek a csetes kérdések.
If you still want to ask a question, there is your chance. Community managers are updating the Q&A list for us to look at, but we'll start with what we have right now. I'm just gonna do that very carefully. Probably not. And the first question is about leaderboards. Is there any chance we can get new leaderboards, like the year one board for Dark Hours?
I mean, new leaderboards. Yes, we could potentially add them. The thing is, they were pretty much left as an afterthought because we were not maintaining them and purging them. So now that we are starting to, I mean, we are doing a wipe now, and we will see how that's received and how that helps with the game, and and how all of you will engage with that. But moving forward, that's our intention, to make the leaderboard game a bit more fresh and a bit more interesting. So, adding new ones is not off the table either.
Will the recruiter outfit return? I think
A
that's something
recruiter
that,
outfitet meg lehet valahogy szerezni? Ez a
reconfirmed
következő
online,
kérdés.
but I'm going to repeat it for everyone to hear. Not anytime soon, but this is not off the table. So there is a
Mostanság biztos,
possibility.
hogy nem, de egyelőre nem
Monday.
söpörték
One
az
day
asztalról.
Maybe.
Talán egy nap
And the Vindicator will be
megvásárolhatjátok.
available in other sources as well. No, but yes, I mean, it might, but it's, we're going to give it some time before it comes back.
Ez biztos, hogy nem mostanában lesz, úgyhogy...
Are you able to obtain the new rifle in the open world after you bought it from the Descent vendor?
That's a good question, but I do not think so. I think it's you can only get it through Descent, even if you want multiple copies of it. If I'm wrong, I will correct that publicly after talking to the team, but I'm pretty sure it is only Descent.
Igen, tehát az új fegyvert, a Vindicator csak a
Any chance of
Descenten
update to the
keresztül lehet
legacy
megszerezni.
cache? I have 3 keys for it, but I cannot use. Yeah, I mean, the keys will give you textiles now, at least. Is that the legacy cache? Wait, I'm confused which one is the legacy cache now. So yeah, I need to get my thoughts together, and then I will tell you. Will we be able to select any grenade type? Well, they're still tied for now. That's something that maybe we want to do in the future, but now they're still
Igen,
tied to
tehát
your specialization.
gránátokat nem lehet szabadon variálni, még mindig csak
Are the plans?
ugye
are
amilyen
they- Sorry, I'm going through all of them,
specifikáció,
but,
közös specializáció van rajtad, ugye ahhoz kapcsolódó gránátot tudod csak felvenni, meg ugye a normál
Not at the
gránátot.
moment. We're not going to put legendary on the open world because legendary is well. There's two things with legendary. One, it's
Nyílt
only
világ
one
nem lesz
faction, only the
legendás.
Black Tusk exists in legendary difficulty. And two, legendary difficulty, it is handcrafted. It is not just a setting that we change on a mission. There's actually some work that is done on it. So it's not something we can just trigger for the open world. So not legendary, but new difficulty anyway. This is not the plan at the moment, no.
Nem, ez nincs tervbe, tehát hogy a nyílt
Updating the
világban a
options to
legendás
enable
nehézséget
exotic
tudtok
third
választani.
attributes and scaling the open world boxes to global level.
Yes, yeah.
To both questions.
This was part of the Project Resolve, and this was part of the PTS, and yes, it's going to make it to TU20, so you will be able to
Elvileg.
reroll the third attribute of the exotics, and yes, the open world boxes in the
Elvileg, tehát hogy
world
most
will be
beteszik
updating
azt
with
is a
the,
játékba, hogy
resolve
amilyen
difficulty.
szinten van a
One thing that I
világ,
just want to mention to
amilyen
go back on the
nehézségi
previous
szinten,
question
akkor
about
annak
adding the difficulty.
megfelelő
I know that there's a conversation about
lootokat fogunk kapni.
us about the power creep and about players becoming more powerful and therefore the lack of challenging content. And I just want you to know that this is something we're conscious of, and we have some ideas. But yeah, more on that in the future.
Any more legendary missions coming?
Lesz-e több
Not at
legendás
the
küldetés?
moment, because we're only doing
Nem.
strongholds in legendary, and we've done all of them now. So adding legendary to main missions is not something we have
Ez
planned.
minden egyes ilyen
just
special
yet, but
reportban
once again, I
felmerül.
think that goes in the bucket of
Lesz-e új raid, lesz-e
what are
új
we going to do
legendás, és
to
mindig
offer
az a
more
válasz, hogy
challenging
nem.
content to the players that have, full optimized gear, and this is something that's on our mind already.
This one about the new skill modes.
Does this mean we won't be able to share mods with teammates now, since mods get auto-used when they drop? Yeah, probably. Now that you mention it, probably. Maybe the team has thought of that, I'm not sure. But yes, that might be a compromise and a side effect that comes with this change, is that you may not be able to share them with your teammates now.
What about blueprints from previous seasons because a lot of players started playing the game recently. That's actually what Descent is for.
Well, Descent has name blueprints, but in general, I mean, we have added a bunch of them to the loot pools already. It could be that we are still missing some, but the intention is that they should become available through the blueprint loot pools. So if we missed some, just let us know, and we will be looking at it. But the intention is that blueprints become
Elvileg a
available.
Descentből lehet a
All-season blueprints become
nevesített
available in the
tervrajzokat
loot pools.
begyűjteni. Hogyha valami
Only,
hiányzik, akkor
uh,
adjatok visszajelzést, és akkor
credits
megnézik,
will be
hogy valóban
reconstructed,
hiányzik-e.
cash is cost
És ha
in
igen, akkor ugye
Descent.
beteszik
I
a
honestly do not remember.
I do not
az
remember.
általános
In mind.
loot körbe.
We need to get back to you on that one.
Let's see if we have other
Nem
questions.
tudom, hogy van-e
I
még
honestly do not
kérdés.
see anything.
Ugye az, hogy mi van a Heartland-del, amit szerintem sokan kérdeznek, mert mi van a Division 3-mal, amit szerintem
Nope.
One
szintén
last
nagyon
chance.
sokan
One
kérdeznek,
last
az
chance.
biztos, hogy nem fognak arról
Counting.
beszélni.
2, 3.
Sure, there's more questions, and poor CMs in chat are like, wait, no. But again, I mean, as usual, if there are more questions, you know where to find us, and everything will be clearer tomorrow when the update comes out. Well, fingers crossed, it's a smooth launch. But yeah.
Heartlandről
more
semmi
questions, we will be
egyébként,
here
én nem
tomorrow.
hallottam semmit a Heartlandről.
Yeah, so I guess we're done. The
Division 3 az
monitor
pedig
turned
szerintem még jó
off.
pár év.
Yeah, our feedback monitor turned off, so we have no idea what's going on screen. So hopefully you can still see us.
Or at least hear us. But we thank you for sticking with us and listening to
Na, hát
the
ennyi.
live stream.
Ennyi volt
Thank you
akkor
so
a
much.
special
Thank you,
report.
George, for coming and turning on the screen.
Ó, még a
Trying to
vége
be
le is
discreet
vagy
and not be on camera.
az én képernyőm is.
Here we are.
It works. And yeah, once again, thank you so much for tuning in. It was a pleasure once again to talk through all the changes and
Szuper.
highlight them. The team
Jó, hát
made
akkor
a
tényleg
tremendous
ennyit a 3-as szezonnak az újdonságairól, meg a Project Resolve-ról. A PTS-ből egyébként csináltam jó pár képet, és nagyon-nagyon megcsúsztam vele, és nagyon vártátok ezzel kapcsolatosan a videómat, úgyhogy ezt is szeretném majd most hamarosan közzétenni, némi magyarázattal, hogy mi lesz, miről fog szólni az új gearset, milyenek lesznek az új fegyverek, az új brandset. Úgyhogy egy rövid, összevágott ilyen kis montást azért hozok belőle némi magyarázattal, de ugye sokat nem kell várni, mert ugye február 6-án, tehát kedden, holnap érkezik a 3-as szezon, úgyhogy mindenféleképpen ti is kapcsoljátok be a gépet, és próbáljátok ki ezeket teszteljétek ti is ezeket az újdonságokat, amikről most itt hallottunk. Nyilván számíthatunk jó sok bugra, meg ugye ami ilyenkor szokásosnak mondható már sajnos, de hát reméljük, hogy azért fogják időben ezeket is orvosolni. Úgyhogy köszi szépen még egyszer a figyelmet, hogy itt voltatok, és külön szeretném megköszönni mindenkinek, aki a csatornának a feliratkozója, mert hogy nem olyan régen nagy mérföldkövet értem el én is, és meghaladtam az 1000 feliratkozót, úgyhogy ezúton is szeretném mindenkinek, az összes feliratkozónak megköszönni, hogy követi a csatornát, úgyhogy tényleg köszi mindenkinek, és hát megyünk tovább, haladunk tovább, és én is igyekszem majd hozni nektek a videókat. Most van megint miről beszélni, úgyhogy én is tesztelni fogom az új cuccokat, aztán meglátjuk, hogy... De nagyon-nagyon remélem, hogy Kelszót nem viszik Pélaúnak az útjára, mert ő nekem nagyon nagy kedvencem, de hát meglátjuk, ugye erről szól a 3-as szezon, hogy mi történik Kelzóval, megpróbálunk a nyomára bukkanni, úgyhogy én izgatottan várom, hogy mi lesz ennek a történetszálnak a vége. Köszi szépen a figyelmet, vigyázzatok magatokra, sziasztok!